everyone, and welcome to today's Council of Evil meeting. I'm Argama Witch, and this is Mel, for all you new people here. Today, we are going to be talking about spoopy things, scary things, creepypastas, whatever. We are going to be, talking about looking at some scary things, so if you get spoopied, or spooped very easily, then, maybe this isn't for you. Mind you, I was watching all this stuff before bed last night. Can I play some of those videos that I was sending you that you didn't watch? I sent him like a slew of scary videos and stuff. So we're gonna watch a couple of those, I think, and then we can talk about them. Hello, Usk. How are you? So I found some short, like, horror films. I don't know. Do you guys like scary things? You guys don't like scary things? Some people do, some people don't. So let's start with this video, right? Yeah. Alright. This channel has a lot of like spoopy stuff and I kind of appreciate that. But they're kind of silly, you know?
I'll need a set of clothes he wore at least once. Do not wash them. I'll also need a lock of hair, and a valuable possession of his.
Can it be a baseball mitt?
Mitt, toy, whatever, sugar. As long as he cherished the thing.
Does this really work?
No, it's
Nobody ever asked for their money back.
Ta-da!
What? That was fucking stupid.
It is pretty fucking stupid. Like, they're not really
Tell me what you think.
really scary. Like, they're kind of silly.
Tell me it's great.
They had a tooth one that was very unnerving, but only because it talked about teeth.
Oh, teeth.
Yeah, this one came out last year.
I think
it's just a stupid doll. An overpriced stupid doll.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the people who
Hold
actually
him.
make dolls like that? To
Don't be
look
shy,
like
sure.
their dead children?
Come on.
Yeah. Like usually babies
Look
and
like
stuff?
people. They actually look like people. They don't look like that.
Yeah, but that's fucking... That's even creepier though, dude!
This is the creepypasta. They just got scammed. That's the scary part.
Well, this isn't a creepypasta. This is just a short, scary movie thing.
it's my baby.
My baby.
I missed you.
If you don't touch it, you don't see a thing.
Go ahead, buddy. Hold the stupid overpriced doll's hand.
Hold the stupid, overpriced doll's hand.
Put that thing down, Jenna. Let's take a moment and think this through.
Already did. Here's the other half.
It's a lot of money.
Congratulations.
Where the hell did they get that kind of money?
They can get the shittiest envelope they could find.
No.
It's been in her pocket. Have you
Find
ever
the
tried to keep an
instruction
envelope
manual.
crisp in your pocket? That's the scariest part.
Why should have
This
pockets?
house is where the brat lived. Where he left his spiritual mark. The place is
We were
chock
watching
full of
spooky
energy of
things.
his former self. Inside here, the doll is a vessel to channel that energy. But outside,
Yeah, she spent all of her money so she can afford the envelope.
outside it's just a
But
doll.
you know,
Why would there be random scars on this doll?
it's because he's a shit at actually making dolls.
I mean, I
Why
guess
do
so.
I feel like the instruction manual comes with a long list of warnings?
Just one. Do not spend longer than one turn of the hourglass with him. Ever. Once time is up, he must go back into the box for a whole day before you can take him out again.
I need some unwashed
What
children's
happens
clothes,
when you
please.
overtime?
Our product's like a drug, buddy. Fun to use, but dangerous to abuse. Ignore this rule, and you'll start losing it. Really losing it. You'll believe the lie. You'll believe that the doll is the real thing.
She
You
wouldn't
won't
even
even
let
have
it
to
go.
touch it
There's no
anymore
way
after a
she'll
while
make
for
it
the
in
illusion
one
to work.
turn.
You'll forget about the accident, cancer, or whatever the hell happened to the brat. You'll even forget about hiring me. Your mind will bury what needs to be buried and fill in the blanks that need to be filled to keep the lie alive.
Read the good book. You need Jesus.
This happens. It's
Need
not
some
my responsibility.
Jesus.
Because you have been warned.
You've been warned, dude. I bet that guy. I bet the doctor guy or whatever his name is a doll. He's got that scar across his nose. It looks like bad stitching.
He did it himself.
He did it to himself.
Here comes the plane. That was nice.
Right.
Is it good? And open wide. for
It's so
mommy.
silly.
Mm.
Yeah, it looks like my kitchen.
Woman, do your dishes.
It's good.
She's too busy feeding the goddamn doll
Mm.
his oatmeal.
Ready? And here comes another one.
Morning.
An angry
Up
doll.
all night with him again? I was just remembering what I said to you after the funeral. I told you that life can be a cruel bitch sometimes.
What funeral?
Down, we all have the strength
The
to get
kid's
through whatever
funeral.
she throws at us.
She's already forgotten. She spent all night with it, remember?
That strength is
Yeah.
always there. And I said that I could be strong for the both of us until you found your strength again. Turns out that that's bullshit. Turns out that I'm weak. And I need you as much as you need me. Now we can either brave through this thing together or let it tear us apart. What's it gonna be, Jenna?
How long has it been since they got the
What
doll?
funeral?
You need to put that thing back in the box.
I'm not
What'd you
putting my
say?
son in a box.
It's not your son!
Funeral.
Hey, Jenna.
What funeral?
What funeral?
What funeral? Exactly. I called
You
it.
need to put that thing back in the box.
I'm not putting my
What
son in a
funeral?
box.
It's not your son!
Stop it! You're hurting me!
So are you!
What are you doing?
Taking you outside so you can see what you really have in your hands. This is my fault for the...
She was the doll the whole time.
Bum bum
She
bum.
was losing it. I didn't know what to do. So I hid the doll, and she just couldn't take it. She slit her wrists.
Told you it wouldn't be my responsibility, buddy.
I just want her back. I need her back.
Need her
I'll need a set of clothes she wore at least once. Do not wash them. I'll also need a lock of hair. And a valuable possession of hers.
back. They are attached.
That's her valuable possession. Hey, boy.
I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll never do that again. Promise.
So it's dollception?
Yep.
So what if he paid to have, like, himself, like, offed or whatever? And then, or like what, and had his doll made to live with them, so they were all dolls living in the house together.
So it works for adults too?
Nobody ever asked for their money back.
He's making out with a goddamn doll. It's a live doll.
This one has a moral. A lot of the creepypastas and scary stories today just don't even.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's a flaw? Do you think a scary story should have a message?
No. I don't think it necessarily needs a message. It can. Like, that's kind of what makes it more of like a fairy tale. Is when there is a message behind it.
Else, the creepypastas.
Yeah, these are like super fucking...
So I kept on finding food missing in my apartment that I knew I wasn't eating.
Super
I
cute.
confronted my girlfriend who lives with me about it, and she claimed she wasn't eating it. So I decided I'm going to set up a video camera and I'm going to catch her. This is what I found.
And I've heard of like other stories like this. There was like a story on Reddit I read about this once. About somebody who lived in somebody's attic or whatever.
How do these people know it's safe to go out?
I think they just wait until everything's quiet. It's a little bit like that one movie that we're not gonna, you know, look at it. You can see them coming off. Part of me makes me wonder if this is a little staged on this one, only because we have perfect view right here of this person coming down, and he was trying to record the fridge, which is over here.
And if I caught someone in my house that wasn't my family, they're gonna die.
I mean, you have the guns to do it, but
If I caught this bitch in my house, she gonna die.
you're gonna die. Yeah, Link to Leaves. We're watching the Spoopies. Hey, Zach. I mean, she looks like she's been living up in the goddamn attic. She's climbing down, trying not to make a noise.
What do these people even do during the day?
Probably sleep because they can only be active at night.
Well, for like a few hours, like being Anne Frank. It's fucking Anne Frank roleplay, dude. Pissing in the
my
thing?
sink.
The guy doesn't just wake up and find piss in his sink.
Oh, can you imagine that, like, if somebody went into your house and you caught them on film and they were eating your stuff, like, directly from this... drinking your milk from the carton?
They're pissing in my sink. That's why I say if I catch someone in my house, they're gonna die.
Oh, they're watching TV. Some people got shot. Professor Bick, thank you so much for the rubies. So he woke up and he didn't hear her running around, scurrying around.
And he goes to the sink and he finds piss in it.
He goes to the sink to have some piss water. Who wakes up 2 hours after going to sleep? You haven't been asleep.
It's probably been more than 2 hours. Probably been like 3 or 4.
I mean, maybe. There was a lot of, like, speeding back and forth. Good morning, McBravo. Macu Bravo. Don't mind you, you're farming bits. guess it kind of hid out somewhere and just waited. They came down with a water jug. Do you think they were like pissing in it? Or do you think it was like actual water?
Water.
Hmm. God, how much of their food is she gonna eat in a night?
It was like not noticeable. Like, I mean, I guess that's what compelled the guy to have a camera in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. Oh. What is that though? Interesting. Also, I like how it says check out my acting work. So do you think this is all just a hoax?
Yeah. A good chunk of creepypasta shit is it's all fake. Does it even say fake in the shit? Because I don't know, if I was like trying to hunt for someone doing shit, I'd probably go to the camera like first thing in the morning, not do what he's doing. Because this is, to me, it would be like just wasted footage.
Maybe he forgot about it. He might have forgot about it. You know, he had his first time he set up the camera.
It's definitely still fake.
I know that there are cases of people actually living in other people's houses.
Water.
Yeah, but it's incredibly rare.
Killer Wolf, thank you so much for the follow. I'm not saying it's not right.
And you've got to be very
Creepiest
oblivious.
things on security cameras. In this video, Fact
I
Faction
guess
takes
so.
a look at 7
Oh, God,
CCTV
I wish I could find the one.
feeds. We feature some of the creepiest occurrences
this
ever
over
recorded
here.
on camera, including the paranormal
Is
and
the stream
plenty
paused
of
for you?
horrified humans.
Yeah.
Get yourself prepared for poltergeist activity, unwelcome guests, and the alleged ghost of a small boy. In August 2017, while Brianna Hernandez and her husband were dining on an evening meal, the latter of the pair spotted something spooky meandering across their property's security cameras. First unnoticed by Brianna, her keen-eyed husband saw a floating figure. When interviewed, Brianna told reporters, quote, "As soon as I saw it, my hair stood up. I've never seen anything like that before."
These people talk about seeing
What her
shit, and
husband
I
had spotted
hallucinate
seemed to
constantly,
be
and
in
I don't think
human
it's real.
form, drifting across the family driveway close to the couple's cars. Speaking to reporters, Brianna stated, "You can see the movement of either arms or legs going with the body as it goes by. Judging from the footage, her description is pretty accurate." According to the testament
sack
of
of
the
potatoes.
couple, just before the pair moved into the home,
Plastic
they had
bag.
spoken to a man who was familiar with the property.
It's
This
a big
man
plastic
told the
bag.
twosome
Yeah, it's
that
just-
his
there's just a
uncle
plastic
had passed
bag.
away while living in a nearby property. The couple believe that it may be this same man who they saw on CCTV.
No,
In the
it's totally a
footage,
plastic
The
bag.
shape seems to be skipping playfully across the screen with its blazing
I don't know about a
bright white
plastic
shape.
bag. It's a
Although
little
some
too
viewers have shown
kinda,
staunch
like,
skepticism,
straight, you know,
the
like-
footage does look pretty creepy.
That's
Since speaking to local
That's
reporters,
spoopy.
the
My
couple
hand's
have remained
backwards.
quiet on any future
There we go.
developments, and the identity of the original white figure remains unknown.
I like. See, this is the shit I watch before going to bed sometimes.
Stalker?
In
You
August
tell me
2016,
there's only
Reddit
one?
user named Fat and
Huh?
Depressed
Isn't like
posted
half
on
of
the
Reddit
social media
stalkers
site
and
to
simps?
report that he had seen something
Maybe.
sinister lurking outside of his home. The
There
user
was,
had
I
been
don't-
utilizing a
I
home
wish I could
security
find the
system
one I
named
read.
Vivint, which remotely
It
connects
was-
smartphones to home CCTV cameras in order to tell users that someone
I
is
don't think
visiting
it
their
was
property. Over the course
one
of
of the-
3 days,
Oh, one of those.
Fat and
Fake
Depressed reported having received 8 notifications of a person standing outside their home. Each notification occurred between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m., setting the incidents right in the dead of the night. On the first 7 occasions, Fat and Depressed checked the
someone
live feed
standing in
for
front of my
activity,
door
but was unable to see anything.
at like 10 p.m. to
The
5
user
a.m.
therefore assumed the problem to
They're
be
gonna
a
die.
stray dog, or at worst, a prankster. On the 8th occasion, fat and depressed, discovered something particularly petrifying, and the user took to Reddit to report his
My
discovery.
AR-15 unless it's
In the
an
picture
emergency. That's
post
the
was shared,
situation. Well, if I
this
see that,
vision is
if I see
shown in
that,
all
I'm busting out my
its gruesome
AR-15.
glory.
I ain't
Right
gonna
here,
lie.
this is
Frightening
you wake
figure's
up to
face
this.
is set in a
Yeah, I
room
wake up to
with
this and I'm
utterly
fucking
bulky
busting out my
eyes.
AR-15.
According to Fat and
Goddamn.
Depressed,
Fucking
this is the visitor who'd been lurking at
This
his
is why
door.
God made
Having
AR-15s.
checked the timestamps for the 4 visits on this night, the user noticed something pretty strange. The uninvited guest had visited 3 times between 12:07 a.m.
Why?
and 12:52
He just
a.m.
wanted to look at the
before
camera.
then
Be like,
disappearing
"Hey, buddy."
and re-emerging 3 hours later. Though the user has yet to receive another visit from his unwelcome guest, the case remains an alarming enigma,
Drink water.
and the
Call
mystery man's
911.
identity is yet to be revealed.
And then go outside with my AR-15.
Dog, thank you so much for the follow. We are watching spoopy stuff. Also, yes, I do watch Captain Disillusion.
In July 2016, Chicago woman Jordan Baranskas noticed that her purse had gone missing. Her boyfriend, Jack Mackercher, assumed that she'd left it in a local restaurant, leading the pair into a minor argument. In an attempt to find it, the pair retraced their steps and perused the security camera footage to work out where they'd managed to misplace it. Rewinding to 3:30 a.m. on a Monday morning,
Oh, I remember
they
seeing this
found
one.
something which cleared of them the blame, but terrified them both. The freaky footage showed a hooded intruder standing at the top of their staircase, watching over their home as the couple slept on the living room couch. The couple owned 2 dogs, who were
See it?
softly sleeping at their feet.
Yeah, it's right.
The undeterred intruder moved so quietly that even the dogs were inexplicably unalarmed.
Man,
The
that's just a
footage shows
ballsy
the
burglar.
man standing still on the stairs, while an episode of Mr. Robot plays on TV. Recalling the freaky footage,
Maybe it's another person
Baranskas
swimming in
told
their house.
reporters,
If your
"He stood
dog
there
slept
for
through
about
that, man,
5
you
minutes
need
the
to get
first
new
time,
fucking dogs.
then walked away, then came back and hovered over us again for another 5 minutes." The man is suspected to have carried out other neighborhood burglaries in the area. Other residents
There's
have
some
posted
ballsy
images
burglar.
of the same man
Yeah.
riding his bicycle, searching for properties to rob. The creeped out couple told reporters that they
Probably
typically
dumb dog.
lock all of their doors before heading to bed. On this occasion, they'd accidentally fallen asleep in front of the TV, leaving their property atypically unsecure. In the footage, the robber appears
Accidentally?
to
This-
leave
this
the
is why,
property
you know,
only after the TV credits
Every
start
time
rolling,
the sun goes down, make sure
seemingly
all your doors
indulging
are
in a
locked.
casual
Y'all.
session of TV time.
Yeah.
The fate of the thief, nicknamed Creeper Ghost, remains unknown, and local detectives are investigating the case.
There's gonna be a spoopy person in my house.
In October 2017, mother of 3 Rochelle Haig posted CCTV footage on social media in order to alert other parents to a strange man in her neighborhood. The woman, from the UK city
These are
of
the kind of
Manchester,
videos.
Offered him
sitting at
donuts.
home
He
while
offered the
her
kids
3
donuts. Hey, you
children
want to get
played on
some
their
donuts in my
garden
car,
trampoline.
in my van?
At around 2 p.m., a mysterious man in a white van stopped in front of their home, allegedly offering donuts to lure the
I want
children
donuts.
into his vehicle.
You
In the
get in that
footage,
van, wouldn't you?
the eldest child, 8-year-old Sadie, is seen taking her 6-year-old and 2-year-old siblings inside the home.
He wasn't lying. What if he actually had donuts to give away?
When their mother came out to confront the driver, he quickly sped away in order to avoid being caught. When speaking to
Meow.
reporters, Haig said, "It was absolutely scary to watch, but I'm so proud of my Sadie for acting fast in
See,
this
I like
footage."
these type of
She also
spoopy things
claimed,
because
"When I
they could
approached
really
this
be
man,
true.
he
So
acted
these
weird
actually
and
kinda
asked
give you
me
that little,
if
like,
my kids
heebie-jeebie
wanted some
feeling.
donuts, then drove off."
Although this is
The
just a
incident is still
predator,
under
you know.
investigation, and the culprit is yet to be
This
found.
isn't really
Little-
creepy-ish.
Little
as-
kid, oh, donuts. I want donuts.
I want donuts, man. Give me your donuts. He did. They're on the table.
Joe Cumming.
In a video posted on YouTube
Oh,
in
it's this guy.
2009,
Oh, that's one we just
a man
watched.
named Joe Cummings shared CCTV
It's
footage
fake. Like,
captured
we
in
know
his
this is
kitchen.
fake.
Joe set up cameras as he'd noticed food going missing from his home. He was homeless and had been living secretly in a According to the uploader, the woman was homeless and had been living secretly in his apartment for at least a couple of weeks.
According to the uploader,
residing
not a
in
police
cramped
report.
quarters from which she crawled out of. Once Cummings viewed the CCTV footage, he contacted police and the woman was arrested. In March 2018, Joe Cummings left an update on his video, claiming that he has additional lost footage of the woman, which he'll be releasing soon. A link to his channel is in the description.
I don't know.
My rule of thumb is I don't believe anything.
Nah. Is it because he's an actor?
A UK antique store in
Yeah.
Barnsley, South Yorkshire, has allegedly
It's
been
not like that,
experiencing phantom
what's that other
phenomena
guy
since
from New York?
2014. The owner of the store
cartoonist
has
from,
reportedly witnessed over 50 unexplainable events since taking charge of the business. The
BuzzFeed?
incidents, which occur both by night and during the day, have included a bunch of hair-raising happenings and hauntings. In one incident, a rocking horse was recorded moving of its own accord before falling off a
Oh,
store
that's probably
shelf.
rats. You just got rats, dude. See that? Oh my god, you see that? Oh my god!
What did that rat do? It yeeted it.
The owner has
That
attempted
would
to
be
recreate the
that
motion
would-
himself,
that would,
but has had
creep
no
me out.
success. Other incidents have included framed
it's
photographs
just a
moving
rat,
of
dude.
their own volition and a cabinet seemingly exploding. Books,
Oh, that was just a
figurines,
rat.
and skateboards have also been spotted moving unaided.
Goddamn rats.
In another
Just
incident,
got rats.
the 11-year-old daughter of the owner entered the basement before running out screaming in a state of panic. In an interview, the owner told reporters, "They do say that the mill owner who worked on the old mill in the 1800s died here.
If anything
He
was
hanged
proof of
himself
ghosts,
in the
I would say this would
1960s
be
apparently,
it, but
just 5 steps away from
Oh,
where we
it's
are
just
right
rats.
now."
They're just invisible though.
Some speculate that the haunted happenings may be the result of a poltergeist or dead children. Paranormal investigators
Children.
tasked with exploring the ongoings concluded differently. They believe that the ghost of an unidentified
Do you think
homeless
you'd be
man
spooked,
has
or
orchestrated the
would
eerie
you
event.
just not even give a shit?
Allegedly, this man, when alive, would
I would
routinely
probably try to
wander into the graveyard
investigate,
upon
but
which the
honestly,
shop
it'd
was
probably
built.
spook me a
However,
little
the
bit.
actual identity of this alleged
I'd
man
probably just
remains unknown,
not give a shit.
as does the origin of the
Unless the
horrifying
glass broke,
happenings.
that maybe. Things falling off the shelves, I don't care.
Yeah, like the frame falling, I would think nothing of
So
it.
there's
But
a lot
the
of shit on
goddamn
there.
cabinet
You know, who knows how
exploding?
secure that is, but the glass exploding, that's the fishy one.
Damn, those rats making my
New York
cabinets
illustrator
explode.
Adam
What kind
Ellis
of
has
rats?
been regularly updating
Yeah,
his
this is the
Twitter
one I was
since
talking
August
about.
2017 to report upon terrifying
artist
events
from,
occurring in his
BuzzFeed.
apartment. Allegedly haunted by a ghost he'd first seen in his dreams.
Nothing from
He
BuzzFeed's
reportedly
real.
received
Okay?
No,
visits
he
from
left
the ghost of a
BuzzFeed,
young
but
boy
he had
with a
posted this.
misshapen head. What
Uh,
makes
No one
this
who
case
works in
most
BuzzFeed is
curious of all is that it currently is ongoing. The first time he saw the boy
It
in a
looks like
dream,
clickbait to me, I
Ellis
don't
had
care.
reportedly been suffering from sleep paralysis. He saw the child sitting in the rocking chair at the foot of his bed. The child's head reportedly had a large dent on one side. He then reported that the
Bobby
boy
rocking
stood
chair
up
right there.
and shambled towards
This
him.
is so weird.
Just as he was about to reach Ellis's bed, he awoke screaming. Ellis shared the vision he'd seen by drawing a picture of the alleged apparition and posting it online.
What's that
In a later
streamer with
dream,
the weird head?
Ellis encountered a girl in a library who asked him, "You've seen
Forget his
Dear
name.
David,
Tyler one?
haven't you?"
Yeah,
The girl
it's
told
Tyler.
Ellis
That's
that
Tyler
Dear
He's being
David
haunted by
appears
Tyler
at
One.
midnight in the form of a small boy. According to this girl, David allows dreamers to ask 2 questions. If they ask a third, he kills them. Ellis's dreams continued in various forms before seemingly crossing over into reality. The dreams stopped for a while before Ellis moved into a new apartment. His cats then began exhibiting bizarre behavior, gathering at the front door at midnight for 4 consecutive nights. During this period, they would stare at the door as if something was on the other side. On one of these evenings, Ellis looked through the peephole and saw something move. His cats continued to demonstrate the same odd behavior. Ellis then took a photograph through the peephole. This photograph showed a shape lurking on the stairs outside of his apartment. In order to investigate further,
Where's
Ellis
the
used
shape?
a sleeping app to see if he could pick up on any suspicious sounds. This
see
app
anything.
works by
I
detecting
see
noises made
crime.
during the night. What he found was vague,
Using
but
one of those
included
sleeping
static
apps.
electric
This little thing
noises,
right here?
along with strange snapping sounds. On
I
another
guess.
occasion, Ellis
nothing
awoke
there.
as his whole
Exactly.
house was
There's
shaking.
never anything there. It's
His fear
people's fucking
growing later,
imagination.
Ellis bought a motion sensor camera for while he was away from his apartment. This camera caught footage of his cats behaving strangely, as if watching invisible beings move and meander through the
That's
apartment.
fucking normal for cats. If you have a cat, they do that.
They do that
Yeah, they just stare at shit and play
and hop around
Alright,
randomly.
that moving on
One
its
of the
own is a little
videos showed a
creepy.
cat perched upon its hind legs.
Oh, they didn't even
and
address
peering
it, so
around the
nothing really
room.
moved on its own.
No. Look.
Oh, it was just rats.
One of the
It's
videos
the
showed a
rats
cat
again.
perched upon its hind legs and peering around the room.
Oh, someone redeemed it. Someone want me to call my name. My name is Uvu Vue Vue Vue. Oyetenyewe. Muge Muge Mosas.
It might be just a little gnat or something the cat's trying to bat at.
Some other footage recorded a household decoration slipping and dropping from its place on the wall.
Rats, dude. Just rats on your wall.
As if, like, you've never had anything fail, like a command strip fail.
Ellis's dreams
Yeah.
began to reoccur.
I mean,
and
I have
become more
posters where
disturbing.
the frames
In
will
one
fall
dream,
apart. I looked
David
at like chipmunks on
clambered
like
toward
fucking
Ellis
wall.
before coming face to face with him. In the dream, Ellis snapped some photographs. When awake,
God.
he then
Sorry,
checked his
sorry.
camera and found what appeared to be images of David with his half-dented head.
Oh, it's just rats.
It's a pile of rats.
Yeah, it's just a pile of rats. It looks nothing like the artist rendition.
Ellis then took further creepy photographs, which clearly showed David sitting upright in the apartment. These images
It's a
also
rat.
showed him staring at the ceiling and standing over Ellis as he slept. The final picture of this sequence is an extreme close-up of David, showing only his hair and the top of his
It looks
head.
like a rat to me.
Ellis continues to update his Twitter with current ongoings. Most recently, he discovered small footprints in the snow outside of his apartment. Ellis recently had another dream in early January
It's like
2018 of David crashing down from the ceiling onto his chest.
He could have done
A
that.
photograph taken by Ellis shows
That
David
looks like a
falling
rat.
from the ceiling. As of January
It's a
2018,
cat.
the
It's a
updates
bit.
continue.
It's a dog. I don't know that he's still updating.
And there you have it.
I mean, it's kind of interesting, but also like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm marking all the completed ones from last night, Mel. I don't know. It's peculiar to say the least.
No, they're just rats. It ain't shit. It's just a creaky pipe or rats. There's nothing. There's no other option. Are you checking his Twitter?
Yeah, I want to see if there's
Uh,
anything there.
Just checking for the updates for the Monopoly and Fat Raccoons.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
Nope. Nothing to see there.
Good update on the dented head kid. I guess it's goddamn. Twitter is not a safe place.
I forgot, Twitter.
Drink water.
Oh my god.
You didn't think a guy would like some fucking furry porn of Sonic fucking Pikachu?
Onical, thank you so much for the follow. Holy crap. Jesus Christ. I gotta put the magic back on if I'm gonna scroll through this.
Oh my god.
They can't see it. They can't see it, but you can.
Why did you go back to it?
I'm not.
Oh, Shrek. He likes the Shrek. Fabulous Shrek.
There's the thing of nightmares. Why do we always come back to Shrek?
Shrek is eternal.
No.
Yeah, there's no update.
Yeah,
I guess
I'm
he
not seeing
was tired of playing this hoax with rats.
He went on for a while. I'm very confused about the whole.
BuzzFeed people are all about the clickbait. You know, it was all for the clicks, dude.
You know,
It's all
it
for the
probably is. I think that he just left BuzzFeed at the time. Maybe he was a little bored.
Yeah, he just wanted some notoriety. It's a scam. Everything in the world is a scam. Everything.
Scam.
Even the rats are trying to scam you, dude.
Mr. Churchill, thank you so much for the follow. What is this 12 creepiest doorbell camera clips?
You know, every time I get a motion detection at like midnight to 3 a.m., I'm really worried I might like see some shit like this.
Just an eyeball like trying to stare into a camera.
I have to like mentally prepare myself that I might see something like this.
His dog going crazy outside, followed by a notification from the app Ring, saying motion was detected at his door.
Man, that'd be so much fun to fuck with somebody by taking a picture of
It's always moth. It's always like big old fucking lunar moths.
Whispering and mumbling to himself.
Nah. Why is he looking into the camera though?
He proceeds to knock.
Fortunately, mine has like a.
Man, he is much creepier up close than he is
trying
from
his luck at the
far
doorknob
away.
and
I have a phone, or I have mine has a microphone on, and I can just tell the guy, "Get the fuck out of my house, or get the fuck away, or I'll shoot you."
After the homeowner threatens to call the police, the man gets defensive and claims he was just looking for his dog, conveniently named Fido.
Fido.
Okay, I was just looking for my dog, Fido.
It's used to me.
You don't like that stuff, honey.
I'd say you have 10 seconds to back away from my fucking house, or you're gonna die.
What you gotta do is, while the mic is on your phone, is to cock a gun. Being like, what you looking for now? Click,
In this
click.
video, we see a man seemingly waiting to be led into a house. Whether it's his house or not is unknown. As he waits by the door, a strange animal-like transparent figure can be seen floating towards the door, and as it reaches and passes the man, he turns, possibly reacting to a sound he may have heard.
Man, it's fucking fake. This is a hoax.
It looks like it blurred out an area. I bet there really was a dog there.
Ghost puppy, ghost puppy. It's a ghost rat.
He's gonna explode the cabinets!
These are two clips that were likely taken back during the
This
entire
is what you're gonna
clown
see one day.
epidemic of
Right, this
2016.
person, I'm not giving them a warning. He's got a weapon, dude. I'm gonna shoot this guy.
Small sword,
It's Halloween,
lurking
though.
around by the front
I
door
would
for a
shoot
bit
this
and
guy. I
running
wouldn't
off
even care.
after ringing the doorbell.
You would
Is it
open up
Halloween?
the front, you'd open up the window, aim down, and just go pop pop.
Yeah, my door has like this like notch that I can just. It's like those trap door things.
Mm-hmm.
It even rings the bell. Was this Halloween?
Someone dressed as a clown can be seen standing in the distance,
Look, it's the
looking at
clown.
the front door.
It's your clown.
After a while, he approaches the door, seems to stare into the doorbell camera for
Was
a few
this when
seconds,
everyone was dressing
and
up
walks
as
away.
clowns to be spoopy?
Whether
Yeah.
these were pranks meant to scare the homeowners or not, most people wouldn't want to open their doors to these two.
I'll open my door to make this guy die.
You're giving him a real red nose by blowing it off. What was
Yeah,
the
fuck
whole-
off with your rats.
What was the whole
Take your rat
reason
to get the fuck
about
out.
the with the clowns? Was this
I
like
don't
a
know.
movie
People
or something?
I don't know. I think it was like It or
In
something.
this video,
People
around
spooked
No,
by
it was
that.
before
The
it.
man in the dark hoodie seen here apparently rang the doorbell and no one answered. The man who lives in this house was wearing headphones, therefore couldn't hear the doorbell. So the man in the hoodie likely presumed no one was
This
home.
is a burglar
Soon
tactic.
returned with his friend in the white hoodie around 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
The man in the
They
dark
ring the
hoodie
doorbell,
tries
see if
to
anyone
open the
answers. If
door,
no one
while
answers,
his
they
friend
start
in the
trying to
white
break
hoodie
in.
Stands by. The man who owns the house is able to hear the loud bangs of the attempted burglar's foot hitting the door. and
I've
he
seen
yells
some
out
footage of
something
this
on
where
his
they did
phone
actually
that
break
scared the
in.
two men off.
And the homeowner like shot them.
Bro.
In this video, the camera catches a shirtless man approaching the door, but instead of actually ringing the bell or knocking on the door, he pretends to knock on the door. What you can't see on the screen is a car that's waiting for the man in front of the house. According to the homeowner, he could be seen talking to someone waiting in the car off camera later on. It's likely that the shirtless man was forced to do something by the person in the car, clearly something that he doesn't want to do given that he fakes an entire conversation with the homeowner, all the while checking to make sure the person in the car could see him talking.
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Was it just some like weird prank?
Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry.
What would you do
It
if
was
that
apparent
happened?
he or the person in the car were looking for a person named Matt, who they thought lived in this house. One could only imagine what this man was
That one
planning to
doesn't
do
seem
with
like
his
malicious or they're trying to spook him at all. It kind of looked like an act of self-preservation, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, be like,
In this video,
And he was also
the doorbell
shirtless, so
camera
like,
detects
what
motion,
what threat is he gonna have? No
nothing
weapons or
appears in the
anything.
film, except for a small white orb that floats across the screen.
ooh, a speck of dust!
Some paranormal investigators have referred to orbs appearing in pictures and videos from allegedly
It's a
paranormal
Orbs are a
buzz.
hoax. Orbs are literally a hoax.
Apparently, the
I don't
orb
know
in
they're
this video
hoax,
is
but
significant
they're
enough
usually
to
just
trip
like
the motion sensor
Yeah,
of
they're
the
light
camera system.
reflecting off of dust or
Yeah, or maybe
a
it's like a little bug or something.
Yeah.
The orbs mean absolutely
This
nothing.
one isn't a video, but rather a pretty disturbing picture caught by a Redditor's doorbell camera. After being
Reddit.
woken up by a notification on their phone, they checked it to see a
Look,
message
don't
saying
knock
your
Reddit.
doorbell
Reddit's got some
detected a
interesting
visitor.
shit.
No, Reddit
After
sucks
checking the
balls.
app, they didn't see
No, it's
anything.
got some
And as
interesting
anyone
shit
would,
every once
assumed
in
it
a
was
while.
maybe
Nah,
a bug
never.
or a small animal that tripped the motion sensor.
Could be fireflies.
However, the Redditor received more notifications, and after checking the app again, was faced with this disturbing image. Whether it's
Oh,
even
this
a
is that
male
one?
or female
Yeah.
is almost impossible to tell. But perhaps the most
What
disturbing
is
part of the
you?
image
What
is the
is-
shape
What kind of,
of
what
the
kind of
image
rat is
in
you?
the eyes. It's not something anyone would
It's
ever
a
want
rat.
to see at their front door.
Scary rats caught on tape.
Lay off the
In
eyeliner.
this video, we see someone wearing a mask approaching the door.
I think a lot of these
covering
are
the
just
doorbell with a
burglars
piece
trying
of
to get
tape.
in.
No, this one's a burglar.
The homeowner got an alert that motion was detected on the porch, and upon checking the footage was ready to grab his gun. It's not known what was done while the tape was covering the camera, but eventually one side of the tape peeled off, revealing the person in the mask was gone. The homeowner doesn't know if it was simply kids playing a prank or someone who
Has it
meant
got
him and his
hair on
family
it?
harm.
They got some
Yeah.
DNA on that tape.
Well, too bad forensics
This
is
video
not
shows
like this
exactly
TV
why
show.
you should always
Well,
check
that
who's
is
outside
probably
your door
animal hair
before
because
opening
that
it.
fine.
Oh, they even got guns.
This doorbell camera caught two men
It's
in
another
front of the
burglar.
house.
How would you deal with
One of
that
them
if a guy
approaching
had
the
a
front
gun
door and ringing the
waiting for
doorbell,
you at the door?
armed with a gun.
I'd probably
He
hunker
attempts
down
to
a
hide his
defensive
face as
area
he
and call
approaches the
911.
door, then hides off to the
I will
side,
not be
waiting for
offensive
someone
if they
to
have
come out.
someone if they have a
Another
gun.
man
I will be
walks down the
defensive.
sidewalk, waiting for his friend to do whatever he was about to do. But luckily, nobody answered the door. This homeowner's camera captured two suspicious men pull up in their driveway and wait outside their front door. The one on the left quickly notices the camera and the two flee.
Another set of burglars.
No. Man, I'm gonna have to get myself a door cam if I ever decide that I need to
But not even 15
or
minutes
ever
later,
decide to move.
the two pull up into the homeowner's driveway again, having apparently decided they'd go through with the break-in anyway. This time, one of them immediately attempts to kick the door down, but the homeowner is ready this time and speaks through the doorbell speaker, claiming the police are on their way, scaring the two off for good this time.
Man, why would you come back, you dumb fucks? Why are people so dumb?
On September 10th, 2018, a Florida man wearing a bulletproof vest and carrying an assault rifle rang his neighbor's doorbell at 4
And being
a.m.
drunk too.
He is
The homeowner
drunk.
grabbed her two children and stayed put in the bathroom. After spotting the man on her security footage, she immediately called the police and her husband, who was out of town for work. Roughly 25 minutes later, the police arrived. They had faced
25.
aggravated assault charges.
Exactly.
The
That's why it's good to have a gun. You know,
daughter of
you
the
can't rely on the
unknown
police to
stayed
come
at
and
their
save
home
you.
recently.
25 minutes.
Claiming she was afraid
This
of
guy
her.
broke in. If this guy broke in, do you think you had 25
You
minutes?
don't
You think
need
you survived 25 minutes?
minutes, like less than 5 minutes. That fucking guy probably could have broken in
At some
and
off hour
just
in the night,
murdered
this
everyone.
man's doorbell
Also,
camera
only dying,
captures
thank you
a
for the
Why?
follow.
transparent
That's why I advocate for
floating
guns.
figure slowly moving down the sidewalk across the street.
Police take too long. And they probably even called and said, "Oh, he has a gun and he's got armor and shit." They still took 25 minutes.
What are we looking at? The weird shit that keeps flying in front of the camera, or this like person walking over here? Because I'm watching this person over here.
It closely resembles a human, and that's what most may assume. But the weird part of this one is that after reviewing the footage, the homeowner asked a neighbor who also had a camera to check their footage at the same time. And their footage didn't reveal the figure walking down the sidewalk.
Rat.
Can we see both footages side by side, please?
Nope.
Goddamn rats.
That's just a rat.
This is goddamn rats. They're fucking
Everything spooky is either a burglar or a rat.
yeah. Dumbest criminals call a case on camera. What was the one with the what was there was this hiker that found like missing posters in the woods or something?
Oh, there was this really long creepypasta that I do like about the staircases in the woods.
Look, what these
This thing.
are.
I don't know.
Anyway, I'll cut right to the chase because I might die. Look.
Holy shit. How about it just like one random poster?
We are.
Not a whole bunch of them.
Who the f does something like this? What the f is going on in here? This is Utah, Florida. They're all different. They're all f***ing different. Every single one. Video's not doing it justice, but this bundle of sticks, they're lashed together. That's a cage of some kind.
Survival
A hut
knife.
or a lean-to or something. Stacy Peterson, 23 years old, missing from Illinois, 2007. Oh, I heard voices. We have to get the out of here.
My only thing is I wonder if he is like a blogger, streamer, content creator, because he said we, and most people who record stuff don't say we unless there's another person there. But it's really weird. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you, Mel? What's the spookiest thing? Hello?
Only time I think I was like really spooked out about something was I don't know. I guess it was like one time I was in the army, and I was just with a small squad, and we're out in the woods, and they didn't issue out any weapons or ammo or anything, so it was just our bare hands, because we're doing orienteering, which is the like land navigation, and there was like a pack of wolves or pack of coyotes, and they're just yipping all night, and that was a little unnerving, having to do like a watch through that night, staring out into the pitch blackness as this pack of coyotes just howling. Who knows how far away they might be, or wolves. I don't know.
They could smell some of that sweet skeleton ass. That would be a little unnerving. What What about an unexplained? You ever see a ghost smell? You ever see something unexplained that... You ever see any rat smell? You ever see any ghost rats?
Yeah, I've had a rat situation once, but I was a kid, and these days I've kind of written it off as a childhood hallucination.
Do you want to tell us about your childhood hallucination?
I don't know. I just have this vague memory of, like, being asleep, driving to my grandfather's house as a child. Of course, I wasn't driving. My parents were driving. I was falling asleep in the back.
Driving while asleep to your
grandparents' house, and then we like get there, but it's like dead in the middle of the night, and they have us sleep in this large room that's practically fucking empty, except for a bed that's just right where the door opens. It's like this big empty room, but there's a bed like right where the door opens, and in the middle of the room is like some fucking, you know, like those vent filters, something like that. And I just see like this human figure go through it, and it just forms around it. I just write it off and go to sleep. I write it off as a rat. But I don't know. That could have just been a very vivid dream. I kind of find it odd how I can like still kind of remember that even to this day.
It left an impression.
But it's probably just a childhood hallucination.
So I have a story that it's kind of weird. Like I don't know that it would have to do with rats. But so over by my grandmother's house, like just a little ways away, nestled in the woods, there is this abandoned house. It is dilapidated, and when I was younger, I used to kind of like to go in there and do a little spelunking. It's very small. It's two floors. There's like 3 rooms on each floor. And the bottom floor, I think, is more of a basement-y thing. When I was slightly older, I wanted to take my friend there to show her, and I wanted to take some pictures because I thought it was kind of neat, and I just wanted to have like drawing references. So I had new batteries in my camera, and she and I went over there. And like I had taken a couple pictures beforehand, like on the walkover. And I still had full battery. We get to the house, and I'm able to take a picture or two upstairs, and then when I go down to the basement, I want to take a picture, and the battery is completely dead. And will not, because I wanted to use it to get the flash, because you couldn't see inside. For some reason, the sunlight stopped right at the door frame, and inside was like pitch blackness. You could not see a damn thing. So I wanted to like take a picture with the flash in order to see what was inside, but my camera refused to turn on. The battery was dead, and I found that really fucking creepy. Hello, grieving doll.
Sounds like rats.
I mean, it might be rats. Rats ate the battery life out of my camera.
Fucking rats, dude.
It was a little creepy, to say the least. Rakes. Look up rakes. What are rakes?
That's the one that they made the fucking Bigfoot knockoff game about. Rakes. The one story that I remember about a rake is some person had something keep breaking into their house and standing at the like doorway to the bedroom, and then one day it just killed her wife, and it had very long fingernails, which is I think where the name rake came from, because it's got like a rake-like fucking hand. Maybe you want to look up a short creepypasta about rakes or something.
Alright.
Because that one's one that's like really fallen out of popularity. Also, happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Capus! Let's, what? And we'll pause our... The rake.
During the summer of 2003, events in the northeastern United States involving a strange, human-looking creature sparked brief local media interest before an apparent...
Go on, Mel.
Put it on the magic mirror. Oh, someone want me to call my name again? My name is Uwe Wewe. Onye tenye we Uge Muge Bosas.
Apparent blackout was enacted. Little or no information was left intact, as most online and written accounts of the creature were mysteriously destroyed. Primarily focused in rural New York State and once found in Idaho, self-proclaimed witnesses told stories of their encounters with a creature of unknown origin. Emotions ranged from extremely traumatic levels of fright and discomfort to an almost childlike sense of playfulness and curiosity. While their published versions are no longer on record, the memories remained powerful. Several of the involved parties began looking for answers that year. In early 2006, the collaboration had accumulated nearly 24 documents dating between the 12th century and present day, spanning 4 continents. In almost all cases, the stories were identical. I've been in contact with a member of this group and was able to get some excerpts from their upcoming book. A suicide note, 1964. As I prepare to take my life, I feel it necessary to assuage any guilt or pain I have introduced through this act. It is not the fault of anyone other than him, for once I awoke and I felt his presence, and once I awoke and saw his form.
Is this like a
Once again
nightmare
I
thing?
awoke and heard his voice,
I guess.
and looked into his eyes. I cannot sleep without fear of what I might next awake to experience. I cannot ever wake again. Goodbye. Found in the same wooden box were 2 empty envelopes addressed to William and Rose, and 1 loose personal letter with no envelope. Dearest Linny, I have prayed for you. He
Lenny?
spoke your name.
Lenny?
A journal entry translated from Spanish, 1880. I have experienced the greatest terror. I have experienced the greatest terror. I have experienced the greatest terror. I see his eyes when I close mine. They are hollow. They saw me and pierced me. His wet hand. I will
Wet
not
hands
sleep.
are the worst.
His voice. The journal entry ends there. A mariner's log, 1691. He came to me in my sleep. From the foot of my bed, I felt a sensation. He took everything. We must return to England. We shall not return here again. At the request of the rake. Next is an account from a witness in 2006. 3 years ago, I had just returned from a trip from Niagara Falls with my family for the 4th of
There
July.
it is.
We were all very exhausted after a long day of driving, so my wife and I put the kids right to bed and called it a night. At about 4 a.m., I woke up thinking my wife had gotten up to use the restroom. I used that moment to steal back the sheets, only to wake her in the process. I apologized and told her that I thought she had gotten out of bed. When she turned to face me, she gasped and pulled her feet up from the end of the bed so quickly her knee almost knocked me out of the bed. She then grabbed me and said nothing. After adjusting to the dark for half a second, I was able to see what caused the strange reaction. At the foot of the bed, sitting and facing away from us, there was what appeared to be a naked man, or a large, hairless dog of some kind. Its body position was disturbing and unnatural, as if it had been hit by a car or something. For some reason, I was not instantly frightened by it, but more concerned as to its condition. At this point, I was somewhat under the assumption that we were supposed to help it. My wife was peering over her arm and knee, tucked into the fetal position, occasionally glancing at me before returning to the creature.
That would scare me.
In a flurry of motion, the creature scrambled around the side of the bed, and then crawled quickly in a flailing sort of motion right along the bed, until it was less than a foot from my wife's face. The creature was completely silent for about 30 seconds, or probably closer to 5, it just seemed like a while, just staring at my wife. The creature then placed its hand on his knee, and ran into the hallway, leading to the kids' room. I screamed and ran for the light switch, planning to stop him before he hurt my kids. When I got to the hallway, the light from the bedroom was enough to see it crouching and hunched over about 20 feet away. It turned around and looked directly at me, covered in blood. I flipped on the switch in the hallway and saw my daughter, Clara. The creature ran down the stairs, while my wife and I rushed to help our daughter. She was very badly injured and spoke only once more in her life. She said, "He is the rake." My wife drove her car into a lake that night while rushing our daughter to the hospital. They did not survive. Being a small town, news got around pretty quickly. The police were helpful at first, and the local newspaper took a lot of interest as well. However, the story was never published, and the local television news never followed up either. For several months, my son Justin and I stayed in a hotel near my parents' house. After we decided to return home, I began looking for answers myself. I eventually located a man in the next town over who had a very similar story. We got in contact and began talking about our experiences. He knew of 2 other people in New York who had seen the creature we now referred to as the rake. It took the 4 of us about 2 solid years of hunting on the internet and writing letters to come up with a small collection of what we believed to be accounts of the rake. None of them gave any details, history, or follow-up. One journal had an entry involving the creature in its first 3 pages, and never mentioned it again. A ship's log explained nothing of the encounter, saying only that they were told to leave by the rake. That was the last entry in the log. There were, however, many instances where the creature's visit was one of a series of visits with the same person. Multiple people also mentioned being spoken to, my daughter included. This led us to wonder if the rake had visited any of us before our last encounter. I set up a digital recorder near my bed and left it running all night, every night, for 2 weeks. I would tediously scan through the sounds of me rolling around in my bed each day when I woke up. By the end of the second week, I was quite used to the occasional sound of sleep while blurring through the recording at 8 times the normal speed. Doing this still took almost an hour every day. On the first day of the 3rd week, I thought I heard something different. What I found was a shrill voice. It was the rake. I can't listen to it long enough to even begin to transcribe it. I haven't let anyone listen to it yet. All I know is that I've heard it before, and I now believe that it spoke when it was sitting in front of my wife. I don't remember hearing anything at the time, but for some reason, the voice on the recorder immediately brings me back to that very moment. The thoughts that must have gone through my daughter's head make me very upset. I have not seen the rake since he ruined my life, but I know that he has been in my room while I slept. I know and fear that one night I will wake up and see him staring at me.
You'll wake up dead
in the dark.
You'll wake up dead.
Yeah, wake up dead.
You could say that the rake likes to pile up leaves. Mudwing, happy early birthday.
There's pictures of the rake if you want to look that up too.
Let's see. The rake.
Home Depot.
Home Depot. Yeah, I've seen this game. There's a game based off of it.
It's like the rake after sex. Sitting on the foot of your bed. It's like, what are
would
we?
you do if this was outside on your porch camera?
Oh God. I don't know if the AR-15 is enough for that.
What if you just catch this like weird thing running around?
It looks like a drunk bald man right now.
You just have this. Mel?
Alright, so hang on, let's talk about our sleep paralysis experiences.
Okay.
Okay. Since you look scared, you first.
Huh?
Since you look so scared, you first.
I don't have sleep paralysis demons. I've never had a sleep paralysis demon.
How?
Huh?
How have you not had one?
Because I've only experienced sleep paralysis once, and it was a very short period of time, like a couple of minutes. But yeah, I've never had a sleep paralysis demon. It's not a thing that I think most people tend to experience. I think.
I'm allowed to say that everyone has at least one experience in their lifetime.
If I have, I don't remember it.
You never forget.
I've never had one then.
You haven't had one. You never forget.
Well, I have not had one.
It's gonna change.
Maybe. I've had like weird experiences. Like when I was sleeping, or maybe I wasn't sleeping. I don't know. But there were no demons. Like I used to get weird feelings, which I don't know how to describe it. It was like a feeling in my head, but the only way I can actually describe it is like when you fold a thick blanket on top of itself and it gets thicker and thicker, and that's it. That and the smoothness of a succulent leaf. I know none of that makes sense to you, and it'll not make sense to anyone else, but this is how my mind interprets it, of this weird feeling I had, and I've had it 3 times in my life.
I'm already a demon, Argama.
Huh?
I'm already a demon, Argama.
But what about your demons? I know you.
I'm already a demon.
I know you like your demons.
I've had one, and it might sound dumb, but it was very vivid, and an actual sleep paralysis demon, where one night, I was sleeping in my room, because how else? Well, you get these. And there's just one room, one door in my room that I cannot unlock, and that is the closet door. So
It's in the closet.
So
Closet rats.
Closet rats, yeah. So in the sleep paralysis demon, it just walks one step out of the closet, opens the closet door, walks one step out, and I just see this. It looks like a skinless man, but with muscles. It just stands over the foot of my bed and stares at me.
That's creepy. Does that only happen? Does sleep paralysis only happens if you sleep on your back, or can it happen if you're on your side?
I've only ever had it on my back.
See, I tend to sleep on my side or my stomach.
And that's probably why you never have them.
I rarely sleep on my back.
That's one reason why I don't ever sleep on my back. Because I had them more often, but not without a demon. But I mean, without a demon. That was the only occasion I had a sleep paralysis demon.
I'm very curious about this video right here.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Most Amazing.
He's a sleep paralysis demon.
He's sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, so yeah, hold on. I'm not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, so we need to skip that 3-minute fucking ad.
It's always terrifying. You have no idea what's under the hood. They could pull it up and reveal a disgusting face full of maggots, or it could just be some regular lady who really likes hoods at the worst time. But this encounter with the hooded being comes from Redditor Curly Bacon, and he said he would wake up in his room, unable to move, and a tall entity shrouded in black would be posted up in the corner of his room. Every time he saw this thing, he could not see its face because it was covered by the classic dark cloak, but he could feel that it was looking at him, and he also felt that this thing was evil. I mean, that makes sense. If you're a good guy, you don't appear in people's rooms at night and then stare at them while they're petrified. You're too busy teaching blankets how to read. At number 9, we have red eyes.
Well, I was going to ask if anyone in the chat has ever seen a sleep paralysis demon or have experienced it.
Alright guys, this one comes from Reddit user Black Feathers. Now he says that this happened to him while he was living in his dead grandfather's home. One day, he went to take a nice little afternoon cat nap with some music on, and before he knew it, he was stuck in sleep paralysis, and the music started to twist into crying voices. Then the closet he was facing started to open up, and what was in it? Well, a new Equinox home gym complete with workout gear. Just kidding, it was a shadowy figure with glowing red eyes, and it started to whisper the word hell. He then woke up and ran out of his house. At number 8, we have the Gremlin. We have another one from the Reddit user Curly Bacon. I feel so sorry for this dude.
Wait, so what's the difference between a sleep paralysis demon and a dream or a nightmare?
Because the thing is that it's still a dream. but it's so vivid and it's such a recreation of your current living space, and you're aware, but your body is just unable to respond. That's the sleep paralysis.
Mm.
Like
Well,
it feels like you're awake, or you're like mentally awake, and you think your eyes are open, but your body cannot move.
hmm.
But you're actually sleeping the whole time.
Yeah, see, I've had that happen, or at least I think I was sleeping. Like, I remember I woke up, but then I couldn't move.
Yeah,
And I could take in, like, everything that was going on in the room. And then,
that's
like,
that's the
I
state.
closed my
So
eyes and opened them again, and then I was able to move.
that's the sleep paralysis. But I guess you never had a sleep paralysis demon.
No, and I've only had the sleep paralysis once, and that was at my grandmother's house. It was actually kind of neat. It wasn't, like, the weirdest thing.
I feel really vulnerable. Just unable to move is awful. It's like being trapped in your own body. It's like being a vegetable.
Like, I love sleeping. It's one of my top 5 favorite things. It's up there with like eating, YouTube fight videos, memes, and when dogs have their ears flipped on the inside out. Oh, it's so cute. I love it so much. But when Curly Bacon over here falls asleep, he's like, wow, I wonder which one of my sleep paralysis demons is going to come visit me tonight. I'm so popular. And the gremlin sounds horrible. He says he will see this thing in the corner of his rooms, and it'll even sometimes be on the ceiling. Oh, great. It's athletic. And it will always be whispering to itself in some weird language. On the most uncomfortable occasion, he said that he woke up in sleep paralysis, and the gremlin crawled over to his back and then stuck its long snake-like tongue into his ear, a demonic wet willy.
Wait,
At number 7, we have black creatures. Dark floating creatures, things wearing black hoods, ghostly
So
black
you can
creatures.
actually
I think
get
there's
sleep
definitely a theme.
paralysis while you're on, like, sleeping on your stomach.
I've never had, like, I had sleep paralysis quite often with only one demon, but if I sleep on my stomach or side, I never get them.
Hmm. So weird.
Here, I wonder
It's like, how did he know it was on the ceiling if he was sleeping on his stomach?
It's the funny thing about sleep paralysis. You're
if you
just
just got a nice
It's just
like
hard.
hyper aware of your surroundings or something like that, but you're really not. You think you are.
It's just like a weird dream.
Like you think
little
you're
nightlight to
awake
brighten-
and unable to move, but you're like mentally awake
I'm trying.
or mentally alert. You're mentally alert, but you're not awake.
I'm trying to remember the scariest dream I've had. The only one that I can really remember is one that had to do with like some guy who was kidnapping people in the back of his
Bed?
truck. It wasn't a van. It was like the ones that deliver stuff to grocery stores. You know, those big trucks.
That mice?
Yeah, yeah. He had like one of those semi trucks, and it had like bare bone furnishings in the back, and he would throw people in there. And that I had.
That's how human trafficking works.
Yeah, I had a dream about that once. And I think that was like the scariest thing. I mean, I've had. Well, no. That's the scary. Okay, that's not the scariest dream that scared me the most, but that is like the spookiest thing. Like, I had a dream about dying, so I would definitely put that one up there. Which ironically happened around the same time as the sleep paralysis thing. I must have just been going under a lot of anxiety at that time.
brighten up your room, then all your sleep paralysis problems would go away. Like the figures would just look way more cheerful. It would either be that or they would actually see their demonic faces and would be 10 times more terrifying. Well, this guy would have encounters with a black creature in his room, and he said it would shapeshift. It would sometimes take the form of people he knew. He felt like it was in a way to trick him. Once he said it took the form of his brother on the other side of his door and was trying to ask him for help. He knew it wasn't his actual brother because his brother didn't live with him. Ha, you gotta get a little smarter, demon. At number 6, we have the Cuddler. Now, even though I've given this one a nice cute name, it's not the kind of cuddling you want. This one was written by Reddit user Bumpstart Broomstick, and he talked about when he would get sleep paralysis, he would be visited by a figure that he couldn't see, but he could feel it climb into bed with him, and then
That seems creepier than actually seeing it, I feel. Because if you feel there's someone in bed with you, how would you be able to tell if it's a real person or if it's just like your imagination?
then start cuddling him. This thing felt like it had bony arms of a skeleton and would get so close to him that he could feel it breathing on his neck. I bet if you changed those bony arms for nice squishy skin-covered ones, then this wouldn't be that bad. I could use a surprise cuddle every now and again. But the worst part is that when this bony creature leaned in close to him and he could feel it breathing on him, it whispered, "Not yet. You're not ready yet." What the hell does that even mean? At number 5, we have Justin Bieber.
You're not ready yet.
Not yet. You're not ready yet.
We're not done with the foreplay yet. You're not ready. Oh my god.
Why not? Why not? Put Justin Bieber on the list. Oh, what? We got Justin Bieber sneaking into your room in a sleep state and ruining your life. I'm pretty sure you could sue him for that and make a killing. Well, this was written by a huge Justin Bieber fan named Dee Jansma. When she was a young girl, around the age of 12, she had a big old Justin Bieber poster in her room. She would go to sleep facing the poster, so it would be the last thing she saw when she fell asleep, and the first thing she saw in the morning. Yo, I think this girl needs to chill a little bit. You can take things too far. I understand being a fan, but you're kind of turning into a psycho. Well, one night, this backfired on her because she woke up in sleep paralysis. Instead of seeing her beautiful Bieber, she saw a decomposing man in the poster staring back at her. Once she woke up for real, she quickly took the poster down, and it never happened again. You sound like a fake fan. At number 4, we have Chomp Chomp. Swinging in at the number 4 spot.
Okay, first of all, the taking down the poster. This is the first time she's ever had that like sleep paralysis demon thing appear on her Justin Bieber poster. What's to say it would ever happen again? Also, take the goddamn poster down.
Oh, we have a story from one of my favorite Reddit usernames, Lebowski Achiever 12, the dude abides. He said he wouldn't get sleep paralysis often, but when he would, he saw this black figure walk into his room and stand over it. It would then bend down so close it was about 6 inches away from his face, and then it moved over to his ribs and it would start biting down on his ribs. He described this as extremely painful, but he couldn't move. Eventually, he would let out a massive scream and the figure would explode into a black cloud. So that's how you kill these things, you just yell at them. I thought the only thing you could destroy with yelling was a marriage where people were bad at communicating. And number 3, we have Take You Away. So what do these sleep paralysis demons want? Well, in the case of Reddit user Jellybean Skittle, fun name for a terrifying story, it seems they wanted to take her away. She suffered from a head injury, and after that her sleep paralysis worsened. She would wake up and be unable to move, but feel a presence of something in the room with her. She would then feel as something was trying to drag her off her bed and then towards the mirror in her room. Maybe this creature wanted to take her to some sort of other world through the mirror. At number 2, we have multiple dark beings. In this one, we have not 1, not 2, but 4, 5, or even sometimes 6 demons floating around a room. It's a nice little demonic party. Such a great time. And these guys mean business. The person who wrote the story said they would have to scream themselves awake. That would be terrible to sleep beside. These demons would even get super close and whisper nursery rhymes in her ear. At least if it's coming from a demon, you know it's probably an original. I don't think dark floaty figures were raised on Hush Little Baby. And on one occasion, the demons started stabbing her in the stomach. These guys have no chill. After this, she woke up with a ruthless pain in her abdomen. She obviously was terrified, so she went straight to the hospital. It turns out her appendix exploded. This is super creepy. Did the demons cause this to happen to her? Or was it the more logical answer that her
demons cause this to happen as if they're fucking real and not her goddamn dreams?
Appendix was exploding anyway, and the hallucinations made it seem like the demons were doing it to her. Really? At number 1, we have The Masked Man. Man. Alright, topping off this list, we have some stuff that will make you want to wet your pajamas tonight when you're sleeping alone with all the lights on in your home. This comes from Redditor Hoobshanker, who wrote that one night in an awful case of sleep paralysis, a masked figure with long demonic nails walked into his room carrying a sack. The figure opened up the sack and proceeded to pull out each one of this Redditor's loved ones and then slit their throats one by one with his long demonic nails. He then walked to the edge of his bed and started to stroke his head with the blood-covered claws until he woke up. Alright everyone, that is our list. Thank you all so much for
well, at least he comforted him until he woke up. It was like, oh, it's such a good boy. It's such a good boy. No, Argama demons do real.
Demons do real. No, they're just rats.
They're just rats.
It's a rat biting you on the stomach or something. Just a rat slitting your family's throat.
It's just a rat. All your loved ones are in one sack. And they come over and they just pull them out one by one.
It's not rats, it's chipmunks. I've seen them.
And if it's not that, you're just dreaming. Maybe
and if
you
it's
need
not
something.
that, it's me. And I'm telling you, you're not ready yet.
Maybe you need to have something in your room, like a picture or something that makes you happy that could be your protector from the demons. So then when the demons attack you, you can have that picture save you. I don't know if it would work.
Picture?
Yeah, well, like something, or you get a clown doll. You have a clown doll or some shit. Just
No, I don't. I have a cardboard cutout though.
Get a cardboard cutout. Just grab the little standee you got from me and just put it in there somewhere, and I'll protect you from the
like
sleep
a
paralysis.
4-inch tall origami.
I will. I will be the next sleep paralysis demon, and it'll be like psh, origami, and then you just kind of like backslap me away. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've never had to deal with demons. I've had weird dreams, but never like demons. And I've had scary dreams. Most of my dreams are anxiety filling, and they're just not. They don't manifest as monsters.
Don't blame me. Blame Honey for sponsoring this video. The Jeff the Killer creepypasta is popular. Really popular. So before Netflix ruins it with a feature-length film, we wanted to make a high-quality adaptation. One that stays true to the lore. Featuring Jungle Jimmy, Chills from Top 15s, The Vulcan, Skid and Sayers, and Donut Operator.
But we will
Jeff
watch this
the Killer.
pasta because it's funny as fuck.
Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work. And
Mel, did you watch this with us? We watched this on in the Discord one time with Obsidian and maybe Marty or Pending. Like I watched a whole bunch of these.
Remember the Sonic one? I've seen the Sonic fanfiction.
We watched the Sonic one, but I don't know if we watched the Jeff the Killer one.
No.
Alright.
And they thought we'd be best to live in one of those fancy
great.
neighborhoods.
It's funny.
Jeff and his brother Liu couldn't
It'll be a
complain
good
though.
way to kinda end
new,
this.
better
Finish
house.
watching this.
What was not to love?
You know.
As they were getting unpacked, one of the neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you." "Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and introduce my son." She turns around and calls over her son. "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mum, "I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter, and my two sons, Jeff and Liu." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object, when their mother said that they would love to.
I love the voice acting.
When Jeff and his family had done packing, Jeff went up to his mom.
"Mom, why would you invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid."
"Jeff,"
Is this
said
guy-
his mother, "we've just moved here. We should
It is the guy. Number 10.
show that we want to spend
That's
time with our
number
neighbors.
15.
Now we're going to that party and that's final." Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he
name's
couldn't
Chill.
do anything. Whenever his mum said something, it was
Can
fine.
we actually end
He
on a
walked up to the
Chills
room and
video? I
popped down
really
on his
want
bed.
to.
He sat there looking at the ceiling when suddenly he got a weird feeling.
On a what video?
Chills. You know, the guy that did number 15. Just any random Chills video. I think that'd be the most fitting ending.
Not so much a pain,
Alright, but
a
let's-
weird feeling.
let's watch
He
this.
dismissed it as some random
I still
feeling.
have it out of the 1.25
He heard his mother call him down to get his
speed.
stuff, and he walked down
So
to
we
get
kind
it.
of go a little bit faster than normal.
The next day, Jeff walked downstairs to get breakfast and got ready for school. He sat there, eating his breakfast, and once again got that feeling. This time, it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain. But once again, he dismissed it. As he and Liu finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus. And then, all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both jumped back in surprise.
"Hey, what the hell?"
The kid landed and turned back to them. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid seemed to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans.
Well, 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 it looks like we got some new meat.
Suddenly, two other kids appeared. One was super skinny, and the other was huge.
Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith.
Jeff and Liu looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have.
And he's Troy.
They looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. This kid looks like he hasn't exercised since he was crawling. Zing,
And I
said the first kid.
am Randy. Now, for all the kids in this neighborhood, there is a small price for bus fare if you catch my drift.
Liu stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes when one of his friends pulled a knife on him.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way.
The kid walked up to Liu and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. He stood up, but Liu gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid.
Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else.
Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife.
It is
oh,
a shirt for
and
mom.
what will you do?
Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Randy screamed and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped the knife and fell to the ground, screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. Liu could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff.
Jeff, how did you...
That was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew that they would be blamed for the whole thing. So they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Liu made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened.
Creepypasta.
All they did was sit and listen.
And
Liu just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was. The urge to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay for the entire day of school. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said in a somewhat ominous voice,
"It was a wonderful day."
That was pretty
Next
obvious.
morning, he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers at the door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look.
Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids. That it wasn't regular fighting, that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son.
Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true.
Mom, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Liu.
Son,
said one of the cops.
We found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now what does that tell us?
Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Liu had been attacked, but then they'd have no proof that it was not them who attacked first. They couldn't say that they weren't fleeing because, truth be told, they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Liu.
Son, call down your brother.
Jeff couldn't do it, since it was him who beat up all the kids.
Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Liu tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me.
The cop looked at his partner, and they both nod.
Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie.
Wait,
said Liu. They all looked up at him, seeing him holding the knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Liu.
It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it.
He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle.
Son, just put down the knife,
said the officer. Liu held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. What the fuck else would you drop it? He put his hands up and walked over towards the cops.
No, Liu, it was me. I did it.
Jeff had tears running down his face.
Poor bro, trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away.
So the police led Liu out to the patrol car.
Leo, tell them it was me. Tell them. I was the one who beat up those kids.
Jeff's mother put his hands on his shoulders.
Jeff, please, you don't have to lie. We know it's Liu. You can stop.
Jeff watched helplessly as the cops sped off with Liu inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled up into the driveway, seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong.
Son, what is it?
Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him, as Jeff wept in the driveway. So the cops have led his brother off, and they've gone, what is sentence him here? Yeah, about a year? Scratching their heads. About a year in juvie? Yeah, sounds about right. Was it you? No, it was me. I can prove it. Look, a scratch. That's all we need. Son, you're coming with me. Do I need a lawyer? No, don't worry about that. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house, seeing his parents were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. It's quite a lot. He couldn't look at them. He just couldn't bear to see how they thought of Liu, when really it was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by, with no word from Liu at the JTC. No friends to hang out with. Nothing but sadness and guilt.
Wayne.
Wow. This really is a solemn moment.
So sad.
Ad time. Here I have $1.05.
Hold on. This guy's ads are at least
7
worth
cents.
watching.
There you go. But sir, that life-saving medicine for your daughter costs $1.08. I don't have any more money. Sorry, sir. No medicine for you then. Oh God, I wish I had saved more money and hadn't spent full price at a wide range of stores, such as Domino's, Gymshark, and Booking.com. Now my daughter, who was going to be the first female president, is dead from whooping cough. Now I will have to pay even more for the funeral. Don't let this happen to you. Get Honey. Honey is a convenient little tool that lets you save money when shopping online. It's free, by the way. Sign up. Sign the fuck up. It's free and it doesn't give you ads. All you do is click this button and it automatically applies discounts for you on pretty much all the big
Oh baby, me so honey.
That is, until Saturday, when Jeff is woke up by his mother with a happy, sunshiny face. Jeff, it's the day, she said as she opened up the curtains and let light flood into the room.
Wait, what's today?
Asked Jeff as he stirred awake. Why, it's Billy's party. He was now fully awake.
Mom, you're joking, right? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after.
Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be a good thing that brightens up the past days. Now get dressed. Jeff's mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get herself ready. He picked out a random shirt and pair of jeans and walked downstairs. He saw his mother and father all dressed up. His mother in dress and his father in a suit. He thought, why would they ever wear such fancy clothes to a kid's party? Son, is that all you're going to wear?
Better than wearing too much,
he said. His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hid it with a smile. Jeff grunted and went back up to his room.
I don't have any fancy clothes,
he yelled down the stairs. Just pick out something, called his mother. He looked around in his closet for what he would call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants that he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it, though. He looked around and found only a striped pattern shirt, none of which could go with the nice dress pants. Finally, he found a white hoodie and put it on.
You're wearing that?
They both said. His mother looked at her watch. Oh, no time to change. Let's just go, she said as she herded Jeff and his father out the door. They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked on the door, and at it appeared...
Kids can't stress themselves. No sense of fashion.
That Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults. No kids. The kids are out in the yard. Jeff, how about you go and meet some of them, said Barbara. Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. Suddenly, a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and hat. Hey, wanna play? He said.
No kid, I'm way too old for this stuff.
The kid looked at him with a weird puppy dog face. Please, said the kid.
Fine,
said Jeff. He put on a hat and started to pretend to shoot at the kids. It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off Liu, until he heard a noise. A weird, rolling noise. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skaterboards. Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with a burning hatred.
Hello, Jeff, is it?
He said.
We have some unfinished business.
Jeff saw his bruised nose.
I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you get my brother sent to JDC.
Randy got an angry look in his eyes.
Oh no, I don't go for even, I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today.
As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and headbutted. Jeff pushed Randy off him, and both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming, and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Keith both pulled guns out of their pockets. Real ones.
No one interrupts. Or guns.
11 or 12.
They
They
said
have
collectively.
guns.
Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed it into his shoulder. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeff grabbed his foot and twisted it, causing Randy to fall to the floor. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. Need some help? He picks up Jeff by the collar and throws him through the patio door.
Boys will be boys.
As Jeff tries to stand, he is kicked down to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff until he starts to cough up blood.
Come on, Jeff! Fight me!
He picks up Jeff and throws him into the kitchen. Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head.
Fight!
He throws Jeff back into the living
12
room.
years old.
Come on, Jeff! Look at me!
Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood.
I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC! And now you're just gonna sit here and let him rot in there for a whole year! You should be ashamed!
Jeff started to get up.
Oh, finally! You stand up and fight!
Flower, how are you?
Jeff is now to his feet, blood and vodka on his face.
We're watching
Once again, he
Creepypastas.
gets that strange feeling, the one in which he hasn't felt for a while.
Finally! He's up!
Says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed, and all rational thinking is gone. All he can do is kill, kill, kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him to the ground. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop, as Randy gasps for breath and dies. Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. Although they easily break from their gaze and point their guns at Jeff. Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs for the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him, each shot missing. Jeff runs up the stairs. He hears Troy and Keith follow up behind as they let out their final rounds of bullets. Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs the towel rack and rips it off the wall. Troy and Keith race in, knives ready. Troy swings his knife at Jeff.
He rips the towel rack off the wall.
Who backs away and bangs the towel rack into Troy's face. Troy goes down hard, and now all that's left is Keith. He's more agile than Troy, though, and ducks when Jeff swings the towel rack. He dropped the knife and grabbed Jeff by the neck. He pushed him into a wall. A thing of bleach fell down on top of him, from the top shelf. It burned both of them, and they started to scream. Jeff wiped his eyes as best he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As they lay there, bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile.
What's so funny?
Asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. What's funny, he said, is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol. Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact with him, the flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach bleached his skin. Get it? Jeff...
What? What?
Let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. He tried to roll out the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him into a walking inferno. He ran down the hall and fell down the stairs. Everybody started screaming as they saw Jeff, now a man on fire, drop to the ground, nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and the other parents trying to extinguish the flame. That's when he passed out. When Jeff woke, he had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything.
The parents didn't think to call the police or try to stop them where two, 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds were firing guns at this kid.
But he felt a cast on his shoulder and stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up, but he realized that there was some tube in his arm, and when he tried to get up, it fell out, and a nurse rushed in. Okay, it's a sexy nurse.
I don't think you can get out of bed just yet.
She said as she put him back in bed and reinserted the tube. Jeff sat there with no vision, no idea of what his surroundings were. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother. "Honey, are you okay?" she asked. Jeff couldn't answer though. His face was covered, and he was unable to speak. "Oh, honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed to trying to attack you, they decided to let Liu go." This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering the tube coming out of his arm. Bless that tube. "He'll be out by tomorrow, and then the two of you will be able to be together again." Jeff's mother hugs Jeff. It's the most convoluted
Randy fucking dead.
Fucking 4 words I've ever read. How about his mother hugged him? Jeff's mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbyes to Jeff. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family, which is to say, Jeff's family. They came to the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family were all there to see it, what he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover over his face was almost removed.
Let's hope for the best,
said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Liu and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face.
What happened to my face?
Jeff said. He rushed out of bed and ran to the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face. It's horrible. His lips were burnt to a deep shade of red. His face was turned into a pure white color, and his hair singed from brown to black. That's another thing. He slowly put his hand to his face. It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family, then back at the mirror. Jeff, said Liu. It's not that bad.
Not that bad,
said Jeff.
It's perfect.
His family were equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. Oh, Jeff, are you okay?
Okay, I've never felt more happy. Ha! Look at me. This face goes perfectly with me.
He stroked his face, feeling it, looking at it in the mirror. What caused all this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity specifically, snapped. Now, he was left as a crazy killing machine. However, his parents didn't know that. Doctor, said Jeff's mum, is my son all right, you know, in the head?
Oh yes, this behavior is typical for patients that have taken very large amounts of painkillers. If his behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, bring him back here and we'll give him a psychological test.
Oh, thank you, Doctor. Jeff's mother went over to Jeff. Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go. Jeff looks away from the mirror, his face still formed into a kind of crazy smile.
Okay, Mommy. Ha 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 ha.
His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes.
This is what came in,
said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see the black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood and stitched together. They took the clothes. They got burned in the fucking fire and cleaned them of all the blood and vodka and bleach and cut out the burned bits and stitched. For fuck's sake. Jeff's mother led him into a room and made him put his clothes on. Then they left, not knowing that this was their final day of life. Dun, dun, dun. Later that night, Jeff's mother woke to a sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked into the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks. Jeff, what are you doing? Asked his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother.
I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever.
Jeff's mother noticed his eyes, ringed in black. Jeff, your eyes! His eyes were seemingly never closing.
I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes started to close. I burnt out the eyelids so I could forever see myself, my new face.
Jeff's mother slowly started to back away, seeing that her son was going bananas.
What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful?
Yes, son, she said. Yes, you are. Let me go get Daddy so he can see your face. She ran into the room and shook Jeff's dad from his sleep. Honey, get the gun. She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway, holding a knife.
Mommy, you lied.
That's the last thing they hear as Jeff rushes them with the knife, gutting both of them. His brother Liu woke up, startled by some noise. He didn't hear anything else, so he just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. But as he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up. Before Jeff's hand covered his mouth, he slowly raised the knife, ready to plunge it into Liu. Liu thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip.
Just go to sleep.
To be continued. No, probably not.
That's such a silly one.
One video chills and then we'll wrap it up.
Chills.
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 We never know how we are going to react to a scary
Alright, let's see what we have by Chills. 11 scary videos you can only watch with friends. 11 scary videos that will surprise you. 5 videos you can't handle what? Wait, what? 5 scary videos you can't handle. 12 scary videos experts can't explain. 10 siren head sightings caught on tape. 5 scary videos you won't finish.
Just pick one. Come on.
You gotta tell me which one.
I don't know. You chat. You pick one.
Chat, which one?
Yeah, just close your eyes and click something.
Keep your guard up. Each of these videos has a scary surprise that I bet you won't see coming. Number 11. Hey, Chill's cousin here. Old Guy Garage is a YouTube channel that only talks about his Lamborghini Murcielago, with the exception of this video. He's returning from an expo in Orlando, Florida, when a woman in all white appears on the side of the road. She walks at a brisk pace but goes nowhere, seemingly frozen in
So this isn't actually the guy.
Video now. This is his cousin.
So we should pick a different one.
Yeah, pick one with a real guy.
Senatusa, thank you so much for the follow.
You need one with a real guy here.
I mean,
pick something
I
older.
really think this top 5 list is scary enough to stop you from finishing. Let's see if you can prove me wrong. Number 5. In 2010, a man from South Jersey named Nick mysteriously went missing. His older brother Mark vanished shortly thereafter.
Oh god, I can't finish. It's too scary. I must stop.
Their small town was devastated by these back-to-back disappearances and feared the worst. There wasn't a shred of evidence for police to go off of, at least not until a few months later when one of Nick's high school acquaintances receives this mysterious post office package. Inside the package are memory cards and hard drives with hundreds of videos to analyze. Eerily enough, the return address was Nick's house, so either Nick sent this himself or someone else mailed it on his behalf well after his disappearance. Perhaps it was sent by whoever was responsible. A lot of the videos are typical teenage vlogging material you'd expect from 2010. Basic stuff like making a sandwich or watching TV. But on the other hand, there are at least 30 videos containing super creepy information relevant to his whereabouts, or should I say his possible remains. Let's retrace Nick's steps. On September 3rd, 2010, Nick goes to the notoriously haunted Pleasant Mill Cemetery in Batstow, Jersey, to see what he can find. On the other side of an old bridge in the woods, he sees some 1800 burial markers and an old church that makes him feel creeped out.
I really can't.
Though whatever he thinks he sees while standing on this bridge is what freaks him out.
Whatever he thinks he sees while standing on this bridge. It's just up and then like immediately down.
Out the most. This is where voices are said to sometimes be heard on the water. Tell me if you see anything.
Hello, Daddy Carlos.
I honestly can't say I see anything strange, but maybe something was there that didn't show up on camera. The video ends with him running back to his car looking very serious and scared, wide eyes and all, so he probably really did see something strange. He never wants to go back there again, but at sometimes the experience eats away at him until a week later on September 10th, when he goes back to settle his curiosity once and for all, this time with his friend Austin. Night has fallen by the time they arrive. There's not much activity by the old church, so they walk over to the river.
Mel? Hello, Mel?
What did you do?
Nothing. Discord disconnected. Here, let me reshare this. Mel ran away.
They don't hear anything and aren't really that scared, so they challenge each other to sit in the darkness under the bridge. The very same bridge where Nick first saw something, mind you. And as soon as their lights go out, they make contact.
Oh my god, did you do that?
Did you hear that?
When they turn their lights on to see what's out there, they see this broad goblin-like face looking back at them, soon followed by a splash of water, like something jumping at them, or else reaching up from the depths below. Away they run and away it follows. Goblin-like face looking back at them.
I don't know, to
soon
me it
followed
looked
by
like
a splash
rat.
of water, like something jumping at them, or else reaching up.
See, that right there looked a bit more. That looks like a bit more like a goblin face, like an ear, an eye, and a nose, and a weird head.
Up from the depths below,
It's a cop.
away they run and away it follows.
It's a water
I don't know
rat.
what this thing is,
Yeah,
but
it's a
since
rat.
they disturbed its home twice now, it decides to return the favor. What you're about to witness happened on the very same night. Nick sees movement behind this curtain wall and thinks it has to be his older brother Mark. It certainly looks like someone's hands, and yet no one's there. Suddenly it grows very cold where he's
And yet
standing,
no one's
cold enough to
there.
see his own breath,
Why is
which
he
is
using
odd
a flashlight
considering
in
it
his own
isn't cold
fucking
enough to
house?
see his breath when he's outside looking for Mark.
Oh no.
Oh.
It's fake.
They really should have stopped going there, but on September 18th they try again. This time, after following these strange lights in the woods, they discover something they were never meant to have. This nondescript book has no title, but I want to know more about this strange binding. It looks like part of a protective ritual, or maybe even a curse upon whoever opens it without permission. Nick grabs it and they go get something to eat, and that's subsequently when they start getting followed even worse than ever before. By now, Nick and Austin have developed somewhat of an unhealthy obsession with the Pleasant Mill Cemetery. It scares them, but it also attracts them, and they can't stop going. Maybe something there is enticing them to return.
It's just a rat. That's a rat too. How
Something
would you not
that
have
wants
seen
its
that?
book back. And the more times they visit, the stronger its presence becomes at home.
What? Tired of this. Wait. What the?
When you look at the picture before it falls at 10 minutes and 28 seconds, I think it's a picture of Mark, the older brother who would soon disappear. On September 27th, Nick and Austin make a discovery that they seem to shrug off, but I think is important. It's inside of an old house that they find not too far from the cemetery. The outside looks like it went ablaze a long time ago. Through a square hole in the floor, they spy an area that looks like it could have been a secret chamber when covered. They get a really bad feeling and don't want to go down, but Austin makes a simple observation that I think speaks volumes.
Oh, it smells. Alright, we're wasting time. We gotta go.
It could be mold, or it could be a body that hasn't been disturbed in quite some time. Things get really crazy after they discover the possible body. By November 2nd, Mark is gone and nobody knows where he went. Nick goes back to the cemetery to look for his brother, and this final recording is what he finds. A tall figure with an all-white face marches toward him, with a long tool in his hand. All I will say is that it looks like Nick sadly met the same fate as his brother. Number 4. If you've been watching Scary Countdowns for a while, then you've probably come across this video at some point. What other channels don't bother to tell you is that there's an additional 2 months worth of evidence to analyze. But first, let me start with this viral video of their fateful first encounter. On May 3rd, 2011, a strange man who they've never seen before randomly stands outside of the apartment of a YouTuber named Andrew J. Neese. Andrew and his girlfriend do what most people would do and dial for help. Here's the original phone call with the authorities. Tell me if you think it's real.
And he's just like looking up at the window. He's been there for about 30 minutes now. Yeah, male, maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 30, I guess? I can't tell.
There's never an actual voice on the other end, which makes me suspect it could be staged, and I thought 911 operators were trained to stay on the line until police come. That's not what happens here.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's where most channels leave off, but this is actually just the beginning. What most people don't know is that there's another 911 phone call made by his girlfriend the very next night on May 4th to anyone who has ever worked in an emergency response. Tell me if this second phone call sounds legit, or if they're just pretending to talk to someone.
I'd really like you to do something about it. Yeah, my boyfriend already made a report. We're at there's a parking lot behind our house. Yeah, 650. Okay. Thanks.
Another night passes, and the figure returns, silent and wide-eyed as ever. Andrew gets upset enough to say something this time, and look what happens to the camera when he does.
Hey. Hey.
I don't know what's going on.
A red flash occurs at 58 seconds, a brief electronic disturbance possibly induced by an intensive wave of emotions, perhaps a telekinetic reaction to getting yelled at. I only say this because the exact same curious red flash happened 6 days later on May 12th, except...
So spoopy. Some creeper. What would you do if this guy was like standing outside in your street? He's not at your house, he's not on your property, but he's just like in the, not the driveway, but just outside the driveway, the road, staring up at you, at your window.
Legally, there's nothing you can do other than call the police.
What? Yeah, but what if when they come, he's gone and he does this every night? He just stares up at you.
I'll probably use my binoculars and get a good image of him and
You would stare back.
stare back.
Stare back and then pull out your rifle and be like, all right, hold on.
Like you step over that curb.
Fire a warning shot right on your property.
But I'll be like, if you step over that curb, you can live.
This time, their stalker is not even there. They simply sense him, and then the flash appears.
He's not even there!
Alright.
And by June 17th, it's gotten to the point where Andrew's motion sensor camera keeps zooming in on a figure that simply isn't there. The equipment is having trouble focusing. In other words, on the very same spot where their not-so-secret admirer had stood for over a month straight. So is Andrew manually making it go out of focus, or is there an invisible phantom figure really standing there like he says? But I'm getting way ahead of myself by mentioning the events of June. That's a particularly bad month for them. And we still aren't done talking about May. May 8th to be exact. When they first started to suspect the perpetrator could be supernatural.
Hey, look, he's throwing the window.
His arms are at his sides, and yet something pings off the window.
I don't even see him throwing anything.
Learn from FNAF. Just stare.
Oh my god, but how is he doing that?
And sure enough, there's another odd flash at 1 minute and 6 seconds, like something's feeding off the peak of their fear, growing stronger. No longer is the watcher satisfied with leering at them from the corner. He now wants inside. A full month of harassment accumulates in scraps of paper, all saying the same word, hello. Apparently, this is some form of psychotic social interaction for whoever's doing this. A creepy game they are just beginning to play.
YouTuber.
Time only makes the man grow bolder. By June 20th, the tapping is all over their windows. It's the sound of someone's finger against glass, and yet there's no silhouette to be seen. Either they are behind the couch tapping, or they're somehow making this noise from the alley outside. Left on the window is a picture of this creepy smiling face with X'd out eyes. Only someone who's really into the idea of tormenting two totally innocent people would bother drawing this, let alone deliver it in person. Little does Andrew or his girlfriend know they are less than one day from seeing him up close for themselves. On June 22nd, there's more tapping, which is not even that unusual by this point. And so Andrew's girlfriend goes to the window thinking that no one is there. She throws open the blinds, still recording for evidence, and waiting for her is the watcher himself, closer than he has ever been before. It's hard to see, but at 47 seconds he's holding an illustration of the same grisly face as before.
That's what?
That's close enough for me to warrant shooting this guy.
What would you do? Would you just like pull it out and go pop pop? Or would you like yell at him being like, back the fuck off?
No. He's on the fucking balcony. I'm emptying the entire magnum. He had plenty of chances.
Mel's gonna pull the fucking trigger till it goes click.
Oh, it's empty.
No one messes with the Jesus.
X'd out eyes, this time with a message that says hello in the same handwriting as the scrap notes left by their door. I doubt he just wants to only say hello for much longer. Soon he will probably be saying goodbye to them, probably moments before he ends their lives. So if he's standing outside of the house in May and outside of their window by June, then he will probably be standing somewhere inside their house by July. Thankfully, they managed to move out before my theory gets put to the test. Now, in a different location with iron bars, they finally feel safe for the first time in months.
Yeah, like
but their hopes of a peaceful life are shattered by the 1st of July when a familiar figure slides in. Something's off about this extra blurry entrance. He doesn't walk into frame so much as simply materializes.
No,
and come to think of it, I've never actually seen him move before. Then when it's time to leave, he vanishes, leaving only a faint trace as he walks. It could be the camera, or it could be editing, or it could be an actual ghost, in which case this may have been the last video, but I doubt it was their final encounter.
This is totally fake. This is fake.
Annie Bennett and her boyfriend move into this old farmhouse 2.5 years ago, and have been experiencing a lot of strange happenings ever since, particularly.
Alright, hold on. That last video, can we just talk about it real quick? You're getting stalked, you call in the police, and they haven't shown up and done shit about it. I call shenanigans. And then when you move, like, what's to stop him from following you? Clearly he's stalking you. You gotta, like, start taking matters into your own hands. If the cops aren't gonna do anything about it, like, you gotta warn the cops. Be like, there's this motherfucker, he is a stalker, he's been following me, he's been up on my porch, he's been leaving me notes, I feel he's gonna hurt me. I am about to go get my goddamn self a gun, and if he comes even near me or on my property, I'm going to shoot him in his fucking face. And then keep your promise and shoot him in his fucking face when he steps on your property.
No one blame me for that. I had it coming.
I don't even care if you're in a state that doesn't like you to have guns. At that point, I'm all for you honing a goddamn gun. And pa! Right between the eyes.
In this blue dining room, the instruments tend to play by themselves over the years, but for some reason this piano has been getting all of the attention lately, so it's where they decide to set up the camera. Hardly anything at all happens in part 1, which is 10 minutes long and slow enough to elicit some angry comments from people.
In your state, that would take like a month.
No, I don't think it took that long for my mom to get her license.
Like a week or two?
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, if this is going on for months, like, it really only has to take, like, a couple weeks before I'm like, nah, it's fucking... So, any of you motherfuckers decide you want to come stalk me, you be prepared.
People too impatient
Yeah,
to
if
get
you
all
give
the
it 2
way
weeks,
through. But then there's
she'll
some
be ready
good
for you.
moments.
You don't even need to give me 2 weeks. Like, you come stalking me, I see you like more than once, I will fucking go to Walmart and goddamn get a crossbow or a compound bow, or I'll get one of their hunting rifles. I'll get a goddamn, I don't care if it's a fucking air gun, BB gun, whatever. I will get something.
BB gun ain't gonna do shit.
It'll be enough to maybe deter people. Alright, what would you do if you had a piano and it started playing by itself?
That I want to point out, like how at 4 minutes and 17 seconds, there's a strange light on the wall for absolutely no reason. It doesn't look like a laser pointer and it never happens again. Then the clock strikes 2:19 a.m. and mysteriously pops open. I see no string and no other way for them to have done this,
Rats.
but maybe you do. I suppose
That's
now
a
is a
rat.
more appropriate
That's
time
all the
to
rat.
share more about the history of this farmhouse. There used to be an old
Here's a
woman
question.
who
Also
lives
rat.
here all
What
by
would Hodernay do if
herself.
this happened to
They say
her
at
piano?
2:19 in the morning was the exact moment when she
You need
is
to clean
said
the
to have
rats out of
passed
it.
on. She was said to have been musically gifted. At 2:19 is also where the Spencer piano seemingly plays by itself. So this high note is conveniently coming from a key that's not even on camera.
Yeah, that was a
Obviously,
rat.
Annie or her boyfriend have to be sitting
How
on
is the key not on camera?
The other side, I guess.
This would be deeper. It wouldn't be a high note.
Well, maybe it's reverse. You know, maybe it's mirrored or something.
off to the side, or at least that's what I thought
But
until I
the
saw
writing
this.
is not mirrored.
Then it's fake. And rats.
Next part.
That even enough to get
Okay,
depression?
so that's not supposed.
Is that even enough depression to even play the key?
Well, what it would be is you can hit the hammers in the back of the computer, in the back of the
Computer?
piano,
Yeah.
and
Computer.
it'll make the keys fall down. So if you move the hammers in the back that hit the strings, it'll
So
make it go
a
down.
rat.
It could be a rat. Although if there was a rat going back there, so the hammers are upright on an upright piano like this. And it just does take a little force, but if it's gonna like be pushing against a bunch of them, like if it's gonna just like tap on, you're gonna see a bunch of them move across. It's not just gonna be like a one pling pling pling. And chances are a rat's not gonna like run into it too hard, but
To happen. I'm thinking that maybe the piano wires are worn out and old, which can sometimes cause a note to play by itself.
No, it can't.
But I don't think that's why, because nothing.
no, it can't.
They'll explain that away logically, but some dude walking away.
Wait a minute. They're trying to say that notes will play by themselves if the wires are old or if the strings are... No.
But people can't walk away. You know, pianos can play themselves, but people can't walk away.
Look, if you have a hammer that's not tightened, yeah, it can kind of like maybe loosely hit it, but you're not going to get that loud sound. It'll just be like a very faint.
Nothing like this happened for a full 10 minutes
why you
prior.
have
This tray and clock move at the same time. One of them could have pulled the tray by the corner that's off camera, sure, but the way the
Sounds like a rat
clock's
to me.
open is something I can't explain. And as the
Oh,
night
clocks open
wears
themselves.
on, the spirit becomes stronger, able to play more. Please tell me
that
this
could
piano is-
Yeah, that could be by a rat because it'd be pushing up against a few hammers in a row. Like, hold on, let's see if we can find like the inside up right.
Hold on. No, go back. Go back to the images. Let me see like the little comic with Slender Man there. I have clothes. At least I got a face.
Okay then.
I just wanted to see that. The back of a computer.
I'm back on the computer. Alright, so let's see. Wait, what was the brand of this? Spencer. Let's see if we can look inside of a Spencer.
We're about to go Ghost Hunters here and
Ghost Hunters here.
Disprove Ghosts.
It's not disprove ghosts, but to shut this fucker up. Alright, so see, these are the hammers, right?
You're never gonna shut him up. I never want him to shut up either.
Let's see if we can bring this picture up a little bit.
This is here on the description has a tendency to play itself.
So these are the hammers of a piano, and what it does is it will hit these strings here, right? When you hit a key, it pushes it forward. So if something's behind the hammers, it can kind of push into them to hit the thing, but it's going to need a little bit of force. These things like kind of stop the reverb and stuff like that.
It looks like a rat can run on that.
I mean, a rat can run on this, but it's not going to force it forward.
Rat.
I mean, it would have to be behind it. It would have to be on the backside of it. Because, yeah, like, it's like a small little gap. The rat's going to have to push up against it and, you know, boop, 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 boop. Yeah.
It's one of the old-fashioned types that can play by itself. Otherwise, I have absolutely no idea how the
He's thinking it's a player piano, and I don't... Did Spencer make player pianos? Probably, but... Let's see. Spencer player piano. Is that what this piano looks like?
Let's go back to the video and see.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. Looks like it. It's one of the kind that can play it. No.
It's a little different, but it could be. But a player piano is not going to just turn on and off by itself, and it's not going to just hit.
wires are worn out and old, which can sometimes cause a note to ring. And as
Computers
the
are
night
weird.
wears on,
I know,
the
computers
spirit
are
becomes
weird.
stronger, able to play more. Please
that I
tell
can
me this
imagine
piano
something,
is
like,
one of
running
the
against
old-fashioned types that can play by
went in a row.
itself.
It was like a
Otherwise, I have absolutely no idea how this is possible. And even if it can play by itself, I've never seen a piano that can do what it does at 5 minutes and 49 seconds. Self-playing?
That's a
Maybe. Self-shutting? No way. I guess Annie could have
on
slammed
the
the
other
lid
side,
shut
it's just
while
slammed
off
it shut.
camera, but after this reflection fades away like someone is sitting down, I can safely say I've officially run out of rational explanations and can only assume this to be
Pushed into a rat.
paranormal. And I don't care if someone is sitting off camera or not, there's no way for them to play a piano with the lid on. I can't even explain half of these paranormal occurrences, so I have to conclude that this farmhouse is almost definitely haunted by someone who refuses to
What if you
accept that
found
they've passed
your house
on.
haunted, and you had proof of rats like this?
Number 2, October of
What?
2017 is when
What if, like, I mean, I don't know what you have in your house, but what if, like, something started playing by itself or TV's turned on and off?
Chipmunks.
What if your cabinet just exploded because of the rats? And you caught it all on camera. And what if your goddamn cardboard cutout in your kitchen walked away? It just, like, got up and went doo 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 doo.
I can understand it falling over, but not walking away.
Yeah, like, what if it just, like, starts to slide out of frame?
I could believe it's the chipmunks.
You would believe it's the chipmunks.
Yeah, I think it was the chipmunks.
a Canadian YouTuber named Moosey
Another
started to experience supernatural problems in his home
I don't see the
that were
stream right
far
now.
from normal. Things like spirit sightings and hearing voices. Something is in his house with him.
Why does it say paused?
I don't know. Can't see what's happening.
What?
Oh, well, he's this guy with the fade on the stream.
him, something he can't see and wants gone. One afternoon, Moosey is playing a PS4 game with his brother when the television starts acting up in a way that's been happening far too often lately.
And it's really weird, like, he's been telling me it's been happening all day.
Somebody could have simply turned it off with a remote. His brother Joe isn't holding the remote, but maybe Moosey is.
That
I
could
don't
be
think
like a
it was
universal
either one of
remote
them,
case,
though,
or
because
it
it
could be a
looks like
number of
somebody
things, or it's
unplugged
just
the
the display is
television,
failing.
even though they were both across the room.
I would never believe electronics are haunted.
This is what I'm saying. Disconnected again. What's going on?
And when you look again at 4
Well,
minutes
even
and
those
23
things can pop
seconds,
out.
you might be
I don't
able to
believe
see the
anything
faintest
about
ripple
electronics
by
are
his
haunted.
wrist. Since this was made in October, I was thinking maybe this was a Halloween video or something like that, but Moosey's paranormal problems continued well into November.
You can get things that'll bolt
That's
it
when
down
moved
into
his room.
an outlet too.
He claims he can no longer sleep because it feels as if something is watching over him.
Guys, I don't know what's going
Damn,
on.
did you see the bottom of that shower? He needs to fucking scrub that.
It's the same people from that other YouTuber thing. I did not. What's the bomb a goddamn shower?
He needs to scrub that,
1
dude.
minute and 30 seconds, there are bags under his eyes that were not visible in the previous video
like a
from a
split
week
second.
ago. Paranormal problems continued well into November. That's when it moved into his
That'd be real
room.
scary.
He claims he can no longer sleep because it feels as if something is watching over him.
Right there.
Oh yeah. Oh. Well, he has a mop in there. Yeah, no, that needs.
Guys, I don't know what's going on. There's just something preventing me.
At 1 minute and 30 seconds, there are
Preventing me
bags
from
under his
scrubbing my
eyes
shower.
that were not visible in the previous video from a week ago. So I see no reason not to believe what he says.
I was tired. I said, yeah, you can see bags under my eyes because I get really tired at my house.
After days of no sleep, he now has a plan to cleanse the room. Moosey blends a special root with various household ingredients to make a powdery substance that is believed to keep spirits away. Interestingly enough, the sound on his camera cuts out and this orb appears just outside of his room, so perhaps there is some value in what he's about to do after all.
It's a
I
flying
think it's
rat.
interesting how the sound cuts off again
mini
here,
flying
almost
rat.
like the spirits still want to hear him finish what he has to say.
He's throwing ashes around. They're like, oh, look at the orb. No,
Or it
it's
could
just
have just
fucking
been a
ashes,
technical
dude.
problem uploading the video to YouTube. Anyway,
salt
after
around.
completing
Demons
the
be
exorcism, he waits until 3 a.m.
I'm gonna
before
say there's
declaring
orbs when
everything
he's
is
throwing
okay.
ashes around the room.
He didn't wait long enough, though. This is what happens 5 minutes after 3 a.m.
Free me from all this. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Did you guys hear that?
I really wish he would have thrown open the door here, so we could have seen for ourselves what was on the other side. The fact that he waits for almost a full minute makes me wonder if this really was his nerves betraying him, or just stalling to give his friends time to get off camera. Nothing is in the other room, but if he wanted to prove beyond a doubt that his house was haunted, he should have swallowed his fear and opened the door a bit sooner. Easier said than done, I guess. Moosey did eventually move 2 years later. He and Hype Mike are giving a tour of their new house when it becomes apparent that his paranormal troubles are far from over.
Mike. Nick. Whoa!
The knocking comes from behind him, yet no one is at the door. However, in the mirror stands a small hooded figure, or maybe it's just the top of Hype Mike's hat. When they check the camera, the picture becomes garbled by what I suspect is paranormal energy from the same ghost as before. It's found their new address and it wants in. At 8 minutes and 27 seconds, they catch a glimpse of someone running up the stairs. Then they see it in a different monitor right outside of their door before the screen goes white. And that's when what happens in Moosey's old house at 3 a.m. repeats itself. The door somehow locks even though they're on the side with a lock on it.
FaceTiming at 3 a.m. to your face.
Just an oversight in their skit, but I was kind of let down when they show it. I'm sorry, but I absolutely refuse to believe that this person in an all-black spandex outfit is a ghost. So I'm not exactly buying this one, but it doesn't mean that the videos in his old house weren't real, or that this wasn't a crazy fan who got their address. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5T and tap that follow button to find out number None of them have ever given McLaylan proper credit. These channels all insist this video was real, but McLaylan is a super talented special effects artist who made this 3D model using a rubber duck of all things.
It looks like a
When
rubber
lightning
duck.
strikes at 1 minute and 5 seconds, you can just barely make out the rubber duck shape against the sky. Other than that, there would be nothing to suggest that this was fake other than the title of the original posting, which literally calls it a Cthulhu rubber duck. I think McLaylan used a rubber duck to demonstrate that anything can be made scary using special effects, even toys. So if you ever see a countdown channel saying that this video is real, know that you're getting inaccurate information for that entry. I just wanted to give
What's
credit
the
where
real
credit
accurate
is
source?
due.
Chills.
Some giant creatures are all over the
Wait,
internet.
that was number 1? How is that number 1? That is a fake. They said clearly it's a fake. Saoirse, it was a fake all along. It was a rubber duck and not a rat.
I think we've all had enough spoofs today.
Yeah. Hey, Digital Mocha, how are you?
Oh, fuck.
So, I guess, we might conclude here. Alright. So, that's it for this week's Council of Evil. I have no idea what we're going to talk about next week, but I guess we'll figure that out a day or two beforehand like we do every week.
Yep.
It's
not real. It's always been rats.
It's always rats. Nothing's real. It's always rats. Alright, thank you guys so much. I'll see you later. Bye!